Welcome to all my travelers out there. I am your host, Darren Beckett, and this is the Global Travel Podcast. For those who do not know my travel resume, I've been to 13 states, 15 countries on 5 different continents, but it is not about me. Here, we are giving you quality travel tips, insights, and recommendations on all the best destinations for ideas to enjoy your vacations. With that being said, sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. We are all clear for takeoff. Before we reach our destination, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button, click the bell, and if you can do me a favor, if you can, go in the comment section below, type in the words, "I got my ticket," and at the end of the show, I'm going to come by, I'm going to respond to see how your experience went with us, all right? So with that being said, on today's episode, we are taking a trip to Afghanistan. So make sure you got your passports, your earphones, and something to snack on. We have a very special guest here with us today, but before I introduce him, let me just say this. Now, this individual right here has been across the entire world, just about. He's been to 5 different states, even though that doesn't sound like a whole lot. He's been to 80 plus countries. So if Afghanistan is on your list, you want to pay attention. So without further ado, let me introduce you to Mr. Daniel Pinto. What's going on with you, brother?
Hey man, how's it going?
It's going well, going well. Thank you. I mean, like I said, thank you again for stopping by, showing us some love with the travel knowledge and tips. So much appreciated, bro. Much appreciated.
Anytime, anytime.
Cool. So we do have a long flight to catch to head to Afghanistan. But before we get on this flight, tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you, as far as what you do for work, where you live, your hobbies, all that good stuff.
Okay, so my name is Daniel. I'm 23. I was born in Portugal, raised in London, and my travel bug pretty much came from my family. So my sisters are both big travelers. My parents have moved around a lot, so it kind of just started from them. I work part time while I travel. I do accounting for a hospital, private hospital, which is perfect now because I've got work all the time, especially now for the times that we're in. And yeah, it's very flexible, so it allows me to travel in between. I can take time off whenever I want, pretty much. It's perfect.
Nice. I like that. Now, what are some of the hobbies? I mean, we know travel is definitely one of them, but what are some other hobbies that you like to do?
At the moment, there's not much you can do, but I like to play football or soccer or you
Mm-hmm.
I like going to the gym. I like art. I like drawing. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
recently, the last 2 or so years, it's just been pretty much travel, just work to travel.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to
Gotcha. So let's go ahead. Yeah, let's talk a little bit about United States. Let's hop on this plane. Let's go to. Well, I know you only been to a few states, but what are some of the states? Well, let's do one first. What is one state that you would recommend folks to go to?
I like Texas. I was there twice. So I've been to America twice, and both times I went to Texas. I've been all over. I went to me and my family road tripped around there. So I've been to Dallas, I've been to Houston, I've been to Austin, I've been to San Antonio. So I think I've covered all the places, and yeah, love the food. The people are friendly,
Mm-hmm.
and it's massive.
Yeah,
Texas is
Texas.
definitely
A
big.
huge state. So what do you
Yeah.
recommend people to do while in Texas? What places to visit? What things to do? Any food that you would recommend specifically, or what would you recommend?
Um, so I would say try all the barbecue you can. I think my favorite city would be San Antonio.
Uh-huh.
I love the river walk in that area nearby there and good Mexican food.
Right.
Austin has a good party street. I forgot the name. I think is it 36th Street.
Hmm.
So it's full of bars and it's just good vibes. I
Right.
like you like Texas.
Okay. So is there
Yeah.
anything that you maybe didn't do while you was in Texas that you would like to go back and do one day?
Uh, I mean, I was young. I was 18, and in the States, you can't do much when you're 18. I had
Mhm.
don't even criminalize myself, but I did have a fake ID. But I would like to enjoy the nightlife more than I did when I was there.
Right.
More
Yeah. I
because it seemed like
mean,
a university nightlife scene over
hmm
there.
Yep. You definitely got to go back when you now are over 21, so you definitely got to head back. It's a different vibe, I guess you can say. So definitely do that. What other state would you recommend folks to go to though while in the U.S.?
I mean, a big one would be Nevada. I was there because my sister actually got married in Vegas.
Mm.
So, so we had a good time there. With another place where I couldn't do much due to my age, but I still did my fair share of partying, and so that's a good place. And you can obviously always link that with California because it's so close by. Just hire a car and drive over. So I think those
Right.
those two are a lot of fun.
hmm Now, what did you do, or what would you recommend, folks? I mean, Vegas is you went at the wrong time. I'm gonna tell you that. Not necessarily it's the wrong time, but you at least got to be 21 to go to Vegas. That's my biggest recommendation. I mean, in United States,
No,
unfortunately, the drinking age is 21, unlike other countries where it's 18 and you can go ahead and partake. But I guess we're a little more conservative, I guess you can call it when it comes to that. But yeah, it is what it is. But other than, I guess, since you're not 21 when you're there, what other things that you would recommend folks to do or what have you in Vegas or Nevada in general?
I mean, I love the desert, so I love just getting out of the actual city, and just as soon as you get out of the city, it's just flat, and I just enjoy that. I just like the scenery, and the food all over the states is amazing. I do like the food. I'm a big foodie.
Mm-hmm.
Vegas has this cool little theme park on top of the stratosphere. It has about
Mm.
5 rides, and that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So you literally
Yeah.
go on these little rides in the strip. I don't know if you've heard of that,
I,
but that
I
was fun.
haven't. I haven't. I know they got the stratosphere, but I've never been up there. As many times I've been to Vegas, I probably should go, but I've never been up there. But yeah,
It's like a yeah.
it's like
I'll let
what?
you talk. I'll let you
No, no,
talk.
no. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying it's basically a theme park up there. It's got about 5 or 6 rides, just
Mm.
and it's all dropping over the edge, overlooking the whole city. So it's amazing. It's good views.
Yeah, that's something. Yeah, the stratosphere, ladies and gentlemen, definitely try that out. I'm putting it on my bucket list. I guess I'm moving on up because that's something I've been wanting to do. Thought about it, but since you brought it up, I can definitely do that.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's go to one more state before we go in because you've been to a lot of countries. So, I mean, 81 countries or 80 plus countries. We got to talk about a few of those. But before we
Yeah.
start going into a different country, let's go ahead. Let's do one more state in the U.S. What other state would you recommend folks to go to?
Well, I'll let you pick. So we spoke about those three. Well, California, we didn't really speak about, but I've also got Seattle, which is in Washington, I believe, and then I've got Louisiana. I've been to New Orleans.
Let's talk about because we talked about Louisiana quite. Let's talk about Washington, Seattle. Tell us about Seattle. What you recommend to do there and all that good food and all that good stuff.
I wasn't there very long, so I spent about 2 days there.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I was there with family and a friend of mine. I went to my first baseball game over there, which is pretty fun. Um, I had my first corn dog, which is a big deal for Europeans. Yeah, they got the famous fish market right in the center, which is cool. It's just
Mm-hmm.
a really, it's very cool. You can cross over into Vancouver in Canada.
Right,
Back
right,
when the borders were easy, but now you can't do that. You can't do that anymore. You can't just cross the border. But
right.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
I
just
heard about
very.
the fish market. I heard about the fish market. It has good seafood in Seattle, is what I hear. So, is that something? Did you try it or did you just hear about it?
It's very fancy street food. So in the fish market, so it's pricey, but it's good, man. It's good. You get
Yeah,
what you pay.
you get.
Yeah,
You get what you pay for. So I'm good with that. As long as I get what I pay for, I'm cool. I don't care how much it is that I pay. As long as I get the value of what I pay, I'm good with that. That always works for me. So I mean, we got some time, man. Let's go ahead and since we're on the west side, let's go ahead and head to California real quick. What would you recommend folks to do here?
so growing up watching American movies is just it's home to all of that pretty much. So me and my family hired a car. We drove around looking for homes from famous films.
Mm-hmm.
So we saw, yeah. So we did that. We just walked down the strip and just did the usual things that you would do in California. It's definitely
Mm-hmm.
a lot of shopping over there. A lot of stuff that we can't really find in the UK. We crossed into Mexico for the day. It was good times.
Yeah, yeah. What cities were you in when you were in California?
So we went LA and then we drove down to San Diego.
Okay, yeah, yeah, definitely San Diego. You can just cross right over to the border. It's real quick, real easy, and cross back. All you need is
Yeah.
an ID. Is an ID. You don't need to like a passport or anything like that. So, and then LA is only 2 hour drive from San Diego, so that's always recommend. If you do one, you got to do the other. I mean, if you're here long enough.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, yeah. And did you get a chance to go up north to San Francisco at all, or no?
No, unfortunately not. That's gonna have to go back there for that.
Definitely got to go back. So last stop, man. Let's go ahead and head over to Louisiana real quick. So what do you recommend to do here? What do you like? What did you dislike, if anything? Tell us about Louisiana.
I mean, best part is definitely the food. The soul food is amazing. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, I want to go back when it's Mardi Gras. That
Mm-hmm.
you have to see that. I mean, we went to Bourbon Street, and you can see how crazy it is on a normal day. So I can't even imagine how it is during Mardi Gras. So yeah,
Right. Yeah.
that and the food for sure.
It's probably one of the best cities, if not the best city, when it comes to food in the United States. That's just my opinion. Everybody got their opinion. But let me ask you though, since you're not from the United States, out of those states, excuse me, which one do you think? I'm assuming it's Louisiana, but which one do you think have the best food, as far as those places that you've been to?
I would say it's very tight between Louisiana and Texas. The foods are both so
Uh,
different, both really good.
right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Louisiana has more of the Creole, like etouffee,
Yeah.
jambalaya, gumbo, beignets, and shrimp po' boys in general. Texas more of the barbecue, briskets, and ribs, and all that good stuff, pork. So yeah, it is different, but it's all good. It's all good. None of it's healthy, but good.
But
Okay. So what was that? What was that?
you said you got to try it when you're out there, man.
You
Food's
do.
amazing.
You do. I agree. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Now, out of all the places that you've been to, um, what state or what cities did you kind of connect with more so than others? What city did you like the most? What hit home for you?
Uh, I would say San Antonio. I don't know.
Hmm.
It's more. It's not as chaotic as the big cities. It's smaller. The food's good, and it's just nice. I love the river walk. We just have good Mexican
Hmm.
food, and yeah, I'd have to go with San Antonio. Just peaceful.
Right. Okay. Now
Yeah.
let me ask you this, Daniel. What type of traveler are you? Are you like a budget traveler, solo traveler, group traveler, luxury, all of the above? What's kind of like your travel style?
Um, I've done them all, but I'm a solo budget traveler, so I would spend the least amount of money possible, and I'll
Uh-huh.
always find
Uh-huh.
a way of how to spend less.
Right, right. So I'm assuming maybe what hostels or how do you what are like kind of like your travel stuff?
I mean, for accommodation, hostels would be a second option. I go cheaper. I couch surf. I don't know if you've heard of couch surfing.
I've done it.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
couch surf anywhere I can. I'll
yeah.
pick that over. I just love it. I love connecting with the locals and living like them. So I'll choose that over a
Mhm.
5 hotel any day. So that's my
Mm,
go-to
mm.
for accommodation for sure.
Okay, so you mentioned about connecting with the locals.
Yeah.
That's a point. But when it comes to couch surfing, why do you choose couch? And before you even answer that question, may you explain what couch surfing is for those folks who have never heard of it?
So I would say it's like a mixture of Facebook and Airbnb. So you pretty much, yeah, that's probably the best way to describe it, but it's free. So
Uh-huh.
you type in the city where you're going to be. It shows you a bunch of locals. You message them. You have conversations with them, and eventually you stay with them if they're happy for that.
Mhm.
So you get to stay with people for free all around the world, and pretty much everywhere has people hosting, which is great.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Couch surfing is definitely an option for those, especially those folks who are budget travelers and maybe who do the hostel route. Hostels. Couch surfing is an option. It's definitely an option. I wouldn't recommend it for a single solo female traveler, now unless you do a couch surfing with another a female host. So basically,
Yeah.
like Daniel mentioned, all you got to do is it's a website called Couchsurfing, couchsurfing.com. You get on it, create a profile, just like I said, like Facebook is completely free, and you just choose anywhere in the world that you want to go. You can just select, like you're on Airbnb, like, all right, these are my dates and this is where I want to stay in this city. And you have folks
Yeah.
who have a couch available to sleep on. You have folks who have a whole room that you can use the bed and all that. And when I say it's completely free, it's completely free. You don't have to come out of your pockets for nothing. And it's really for those folks who like to connect with the locals. I think those folks who are more in tune with what the culture is, the traditions, and with how they live. I think couch surfing is a great way to do it, and it's free. You get what you pay for, but you can get, I think some of the best things in life are free, in my opinion. So okay, cool, Daniel. We talked about a few different states in the US of A. So let's go ahead and head international, and let's talk about a couple different countries that you've visited and been to that you would recommend. So what is the first country that comes to mind that you would like to talk about?
Uh, I would have to say Eritrea, man. Eritrea has been a very special one for me. Ever since I've left, I've been constantly thinking about it.
Mm,
Yeah, I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's a former Italian colony in East Africa. It's
mhm.
got one of the hardest visas to get pretty much in all of the whole world, I would say. It's very difficult to get in. They're very closed off to the world. There's no journalists there. They very secluded country, and it's just amazing. I love it. The capital's a UNESCO World Heritage Site, so it's full of old Italian buildings and Italian coffee shops. The people
Mhm.
are friendly. The food's good. It's just I would say it's a definition of a hidden gem that people don't know of.
Right, right. Now you said a visa. What are the requirements? How much? What does it cost? All that good stuff.
The visa just takes a very long time, so it can take months. It because they need to be approved in the capital in Asmara, and they don't have internet. The people, only one
Oh,
percent of the population have internet, so only government officials do. So everything takes a very long time there. I luckily had a contact who managed to get me a visa on arrival when I arrived at the airport, but it
mm,
normally takes many months, and sometimes you don't even get a response back from them. So it's a very hard one.
mm. Right, right. And do you need any vaccinations or anything when you go to Eritrea? Eritrea?
Not that I'm aware of. I know the main one would be yellow fever, but they didn't ask me. They
Okay,
didn't
then
ask me.
okay. Okay, cool.
No.
So what about the food there? How was the food?
The food, it's very similar to Ethiopian. So
Okay.
a lot of it's quite a lot of vegetarian food,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of
Mm-hmm.
sauces, and they have this bread called injera bread, which is it's like a semi. I wouldn't say gone off, but it has to. It's spoiled. The bread's spoiled, so it only after maybe a week or so, it's ready to eat. And it's like a flatbread, and you have that with sauces, and it's a lot of vegetarian food, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
hard to describe.
Yeah, because I know vegetarians sometimes have a hard time eating really good in different places in different countries, or even the United States in general. So, it seems like Eritrea is a good place for vegetarians. So India as well. So what about when it comes to Eritrea? Now, how were the people, the culture, the traditions, and all that good stuff? What did you learn about their history?
I mean, it's just so weird. The older generation, they all speak Italian.
Hmm.
Um, they got a very
Wow.
unique language called Tigrinya, which they also speak
Mm-hmm.
in northern Ethiopia. The people are very friendly,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, they're just the most friendly, hospitable people you'll meet because they don't get a lot of tourists. They get um, not counting maybe like NGOs and stuff, they get less
Mm-hmm.
than 1,000 people a year. It is growing
Wow.
now, but it's very low, man. So they're
Wow.
very
Wow.
friendly. Well,
Okay. Okay. Yeah,
yeah,
that's cool. I would love to go to Eritrea one day. Who knows? But the visa process, that's one of those things I'll have to get ready for. So definitely. And now let's go to another country. What other country would you recommend folks to go to?
uh, how about you pick a continent and
I
I'll pick
like
it.
that. I like that. We are so we hit you the North America. We hit Africa. Let's go to Asia. Let's pick Asia. What country would you like to recommend in Asia?
I'll go for Malaysia. Malaysia was probably, it was the first country I can say I've when I left Europe for the first time. It was Malaysia. I went with my sister and her husband at the time, and that pretty much just sparked for me, and I fell in love with traveling after going to Malaysia. And just the mix, the food, the people is, it's literally just it's a mix of Asia. That's where the name comes from. It's, so you have a mix of Thai, Chinese, Indian, and you notice that in the food and the people and the hospitality. It's just a great place.
Now, what would you recommend as far as things to do in Malaysia?
Oh, Malaysia's got a lot. It's got loads of islands. It's like any other Southeast Asian place. It's got amazing beaches, amazing islands. The food's good. I would say, especially in Malaysia, because of the mix of Indian and Asian and Oriental. I would say the capital, Kuala Lumpur, it's probably my favorite city in the world. It's just a cool city, and it's like Bangkok, but 20 years ago. So it's not touristy to the point where Bangkok is. It's got vibes, good bars, and good food. You can tell I like food.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good. You fit perfect on this show. So I'm a foodie myself. So we're gonna talk a lot about food today. Don't worry. Now, when it comes to Malaysia, is it one of those? I mean, I guess any place can be like a budget type of place, but is it more on the budget side, or is it more on the luxury side?
Nah, Malaysia's cheap, man. Malaysia,
Oh,
you
yeah?
can live off $10 a day for sure.
Really? $10 a day. That's cool. That's if you couch surf, of course, right? I'm assuming.
I mean, I didn't at the time. That was before I started couch surfing. But you can get hostels for $2 or $3 for sure a night.
Oh, wow.
Man.
$2, $3. Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, especially those budget travelers out there, you might want to hit up Malaysia, man. 'Cause your money can take you a long way. So put that on your list if it's not already. Now, when it comes to Malaysia and the culture and the people and all, any history or anything enriching that you, because I know you like to tap into the local culture and whatnot. Anything that you learned while you was there?
In terms of history,
Anything, history, culture, traditions, anything.
I mean, it's a former British colony, and so you do see that in the building. So it's quite strange. You're in humid, hot Southeast Asia, and then you have these old British style buildings, and a lot of people still speak English, which is pretty cool. But then you have the mix of Indian and Oriental. So it's just a huge cultural melting pot, and it's amazing to see. I love Malaysia.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely on my list. So I want to put that there. And yeah, one day I will be in Malaysia. So let's head to another continent. Let's go to South America. I'm assuming you've been in South America. So what country? You said you haven't?
Surprisingly, South America is the only continent I haven't actually touched.
You mean you've been to Antarctica, but you haven't been to South America yet? Is that what you're saying?
1 second. The internet's a little bit bad. Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you hear me? Can you see me?
No, I can't see you.
Okay, yeah. So no, I haven't. I mean, when you say South America, I haven't. I was meant to go.
Wait a minute, Daniel. I can't see you. Yeah, yep.
Oh.
There we go.
Okay.
Now I can see you.
Yep. For my connection down. So yeah, no, it's. I was meant to spend 3 months there this year with my girlfriend, but that got cancelled because of COVID. So I haven't. The only place in Latin America that I've been is Cuba. So anything below that, I haven't been to, unfortunately.
Well, let's go to Cuba then. I mean, that's close. That's close enough. So let's head to Cuba. It's one of the places I haven't been yet. One of many places I haven't been yet. So, what would you recommend to do and seeing all that good stuff in Cuba?
Oh, Cuba's amazing. Havana's amazing. Just simply walking around the old town and just looking at the architectures is amazing. There's a place called Vinales, which is about 2 hours from Havana, and it's where they grow tobacco. And it's just a cool little colonial town in the middle of the mountains with tobacco fields all around you, colorful houses. The men still go around the town in horses, and it's just good vibes. It's very different. You can get you get cheap bars there and cheap rum, and it's the best quality, man.
Really?
It's
So
good.
how's the
Yeah.
food there? How's the food? Like, what would you recommend if anything?
I mean, Cuba's not the best when it comes to food because they don't really get much import, so they've only got what they have really, and they do have good meat dishes, but I wouldn't say the food's to brag for when it comes to Cuba. Cuba's more the people and the architecture and everything else.
Right,
The
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't heard too much about the food in Cuba. I didn't hear too many good reviews, but they're
Yeah.
probably known for more of the beaches, like I said, history and culture and the people. I hear the people are very, very nice, very welcoming. So that's something to take note of. So Cuba definitely one. And then Americans, we unfortunately can't just travel from the USA to Cuba. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
we
I've
have
heard
to.
about.
Yeah, yeah. We have issues, or not the people per se, but
But you can still go.
politics, I guess you can say.
You
What was
can
that?
still go. You can still go to Cuba, right? You have to go to the different route.
Yeah, so we have to, for instance, if you're like in Southern California or like you did, you can go to Mexico, or TJ is where you would go to TJ and take a flight there to go to Cuba, and then
Mhm.
fly back to TJ and then cross the border from TJ back into the United States. So that's the loophole that we got. Um, for those folks who haven't tried it, you may want to look into that. That's a loophole. Or you can do the same way when you're in Florida. Maybe you could fly to Cancun and then fly to Cuba. I don't know how it goes over there, but yeah, it's ways to get to Cuba. It's ways to get to Cuba. But yeah, let's go ahead. So Cuba was fun. A lot of beautiful waters, history, culture, people was
Beautiful ladies.
nice. Beautiful what?
Beautiful ladies.
That as
The women.
well. That is, yeah, that as well. And now so we hit the island. Now, have you've been to Australia? I'm assuming, yeah.
No, no. I haven't been to
So
Australia.
it's two. It's
It's
two.
saying
Have you been
sorry.
to Antarctica?
No.
So there's three continents you haven't been to. Okay, all right. So I'm assuming a lot of places that you've hit were in Europe. I'm assuming.
With me, sorry, when I say every continent, I mean like with continents of countries in it. So I haven't been to Antarctica. With me,
Mhm.
people that go into every country in the world, they usually go to the easy ones first. I did it the other way around. I went to the more difficult ones. I'm trying to get the difficult ones out of the way first, and they're the
Mhm.
ones I find
Mhm.
more interesting, and I get drawn to them more than places like Australia, for example. I'd rather go to Iraq
Mhm.
and
I
places
got
like
you.
that. Yeah,
Yeah. And you know what? Everyone has their own travel style. All travel matters. So whether you are, whether it's budget traveling, luxury, group, solo, it's all good in my book. But
yeah.
let's hit. We got time for one more country before we hit Afghanistan. So let's hit one more country that you would like to recommend before we go to Afghanistan.
Uh, I'd say Georgia. I don't know if you've heard of Georgia. It's in the
Oh,
Caucasus. It's pretty
yeah.
much in the
And you know
middle.
what, ladies and gentlemen, he's not talking about Georgia, the state. So let's go ahead and clear that up. But yeah, there is a country named Georgia. So yeah, we'll tell us about Georgia.
So yeah, so it's pretty much in the middle between Europe and Asia. I don't even know which continent it's in. It's right in the middle.
Uh-huh.
And it's got everything. It's got beaches. It's got mountains. It's got cool towns. It's got good food, and it's cheap. It's really cheap. I stayed in probably the cheapest hostel I've ever stayed in, and it was less than $1, or less than £1, I'd say. So just over $1.
Mm, mhm.
Very
See,
people.
yeah, you're in the UK, right? Right now, or no, you're in Portugal now, but you're used to the UK, where UK has the pound, right?
Pound, yeah.
Yeah. See, yeah, you guys, that's heavy money right there. So, okay, now Georgia, what is specifically? I know you mentioned a few things on a surface level, but is there anything specific that you would recommend folks to do, like a specific, place or beach, or an experience or tour or whatever?
Uh, I would say the capital, Tbilisi, is fascinating. It's just a really cool city. It's very cheap. It's probably one of the cheapest capital cities I've been to. So you can live really cheap there. It's got amazing food. It's surrounded by mountains. It's got like a really cool cable car that goes to the castle that just overlooks the whole town. And yeah, it's cool. I like Georgia. I've been 3 times.
3 times.
Yeah.
Man, well traveled, bro. You're well traveled. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is official. We have landed in Afghanistan. So, welcome, welcome, welcome. We are off the plane now, Daniel. We're going to be here for a while now. So, we can take our time and just see what Afghanistan. Now, I'll be honest with you. My first thought about being in Afghanistan is like, wait a minute, time out. What's going on? But I'm sure folks can appreciate the leisure side of Afghanistan, and not because I think of war and military when I think of Afghanistan. I don't know if other people do, but I'm pretty sure there are some places that you can actually enjoy it and go like for leisure and vacations and whatnot. So now that we off the plane, Daniel, we're ready to hit the ground running. What is the first thing that you'll recommend? And let's take our time, man. Take our time. We'll be here for a while, so let's take our time. What would you recommend?
Okay, let's just start off with actually visiting Afghanistan. So visiting Afghanistan is not it's not easy.
Mm-hmm,
You can not normally you can only get a visa if you're part of a group tour which has security with a guide,
mm-hmm.
and that's very expensive. It's around $300 a day to go in a group tour.
Mm.
So, and as a budget traveler, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to go by myself, and I wanted to couch surf. And everyone told me it's not a good idea, but I still wanted to do it, so I did it. I had to write a fake letter to get my visa to say I was going with a company which I wasn't. And yeah, I couch surfed in Afghanistan, and that's how I did it cheaply.
Mhm.
So my host had no references. I don't know if so when you couch surf, you need to go by references really, just to check
Mhm.
how the people are and trustworthy.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
the only host I found in Kabul had no references, so and that's quite dodgy. You don't want to stay with someone who doesn't have any references. But I just went on my gut, and it turned out to be an amazing experience. I stayed up with female, which was not something I thought I would do in Afghanistan, considering
Mhm.
how conservative it is. And yeah, had an amazing time on a budget.
Right. On the budget, balling on the budget. I like that. 80
Yeah.
plus country, man. You doing something right. So y'all definitely want to take notes and pay attention. So far as the culture in Afghanistan, what is the culture like versus what you're used to?
I mean, it's a 99% Islamic country, so pretty much everyone is a Muslim there, and everyone just wears the traditional shalwar kameez, which is the long baggy trousers.
Mhm.
No matter rich or poor, everyone dresses the same, which is really cool. Um,
Mhm.
it's a big the people. It's a big mix. So you have the Hazaras, which are the more Asian looking people. You have the Tajiks. You have you just have a big group of people, so you can't you yeah, it's hard to talk about the people because they're all so different. You can't say someone's just Afghan because it's not just Afghan. There's many people groups there,
Mhm.
and they're all very friendly. And yeah, I don't know where I was going with this one actually, but yeah, the
Mhm.
people are very cool.
Yeah, yeah, it's all good, man. What's the weather like in Afghanistan? What can folks kind of expect when it comes to weather?
I mean, it's very mountainous, so it's in the night it gets quite cold. Actually, it's not what I expected. I thought it was going to be hot and humid like it was in Pakistan, which is where I was before. But no, it's the complete
Mhm.
opposite. Quite chilly at night, and it's pretty nice. It's mild during the day, so it's very
Okay.
comfortable weather.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's weather's always important to take consideration of or take into account. So, okay,
of
now
course.
when folks are in Afghanistan, what is the mode of transportation? Is it taxis, Uber, buses? How do folks get around?
I mean, they have pretty much everything there. It just depends how risky you are. So the they have the shared minibuses or the shared taxis, which can be quite dangerous. Sometimes they get targeted by terrorists and they do get blown up, and it is dangerous. So
Mm-hmm.
majority
Hmm.
people will use private taxi companies, and that's probably the best way to get around. I did use my fair share of shared taxis on a
Hmm.
budget. But you just have to take a risk sometimes, I believe.
Yep, yep.
That's
When you
fun.
travel, it's a risk in travel. Man, it's just a risk in living. So I mean, that's just a risk within itself. So yeah, you might as well get the most out of it. So that's real cool. Now, as far as the language, what language do they speak? Or what's the national language there?
They speak Dari, which is the same. It's pretty much the same as Farsi, what they speak in Iran. Um, oh, I've gone blank now. So in the south, they speak a different language, but I can't think of what the name is now. So it's pretty much divided between two languages. So it's Dari and let's see if it comes to me now. It's not going to come to me now that I'm on the spot. But yeah, it's the two.
Right, right. Now, as far as
Yeah.
speaking English, can folks get around speaking English, or is it good to have like a translator, someone with you, or Google Translator, what have you?
Yeah, it's very rare that they speak English, so you pretty much have to use your hands and hand gestures and your smile to get around, I'd say. But yeah, having a
Mhm.
local is definitely handy, or a translator.
Yeah, yeah. Because I didn't think they spoke or speak a lot of English, so I'm like, wait a minute, let's see on that. All right, cool. Now, okay, what about I guess the food? Let's talk about the food since we're foodies. What would you recommend? Is any specific dishes that they eat or types of
Oh, all of
food?
it, man. Afghanistan, I think, it's just shot up the list as one of my favorite food cuisines in the world. It's so
Wow.
cheap. So they've got these things called balanis, which is it's pretty much like a big samosa with vegetables or meat inside, and you can literally get them as cheap as like 10 pence, and they're really big.
Mhm.
They got the best kebabs I've ever had. It's just grilled meat with bread and salad. It's just basic, amazing food. It's just simple, and that's what I like. It's just tasty. Yeah,
Mhm.
kebabs.
Mhm.
That's when I think of Afghanistan, I think of kebabs. Real good.
Yeah, kebab. Yeah, man. Is it are they more known for like chicken kebabs, beef, pork, all of the
It's
above?
it's mostly chicken, lamb,
Oh,
chicken
they
and
don't
lamb.
eat pork. Yeah, they don't eat pork, huh?
No,
No,
no, when I
they
thought,
don't eat.
yeah.
They don't touch that swine. I understand. I understand. Okay, cool. So, all right. Now, when are they? So they're in the Middle East, right? Is that correct?
Uh,
That's the Middle
Central
East or
Central Asia,
no?
so a bit further across in the Middle East, so Central Asia.
Central Asia. Okay, cool. So Central
Yeah.
Asia. Now, when any expectations that you had prior to going that wasn't met, or any prior judgments about
I
it
mean,
before
I
you got
thought
there?
I thought it was going to be a lot more rough. I thought it was going to be more dangerous than it was. So it was
Hmm.
much more peaceful, and I didn't feel unsafe at all the whole time I was there. So it was actually the opposite. I thought it was going to be worse than it actually was.
Okay. Okay. And now,
Yeah.
how long would you recommend folks to stay there? Do they only need a couple days, a week, 2 weeks, or how long do you think folks need to stay there to really enjoy it?
Oh man, I want to go back. I was there 10 days, and I want to go back. So
Hmm.
I'm definitely thinking of Afghanistan V2, maybe sometime next year. But yeah, 2 weeks. 2 weeks is a good amount of time.
2 weeks. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Some places you got to stay a little. Like Italy is one of those places you got to stay longer than a week. It's just one of those places. So yeah, Afghanistan. Now, when it comes to Afghanistan, what? So most people, Afghanistan is just not on a lot of people's list when it comes to vacations. Let's put it like
No.
that. So why would you recommend it as a place to go vacation? What about it do you like? Yo, you got to go because of X, Y, and Z.
Being honest, I don't know if I would recommend it as a vacation place.
Mm,
It's more for people that want to get involved with the history. Well, find out about the history and find out what it's really like instead of just following what the news says. I can see it being a
mm,
good vacation place because they've got amazing lakes and mountains in the central region. But right
mhm,
now, I wouldn't say it's 100% ready for that.
mhm,
In the years
mhm.
to come.
Yeah, that makes sense. So not necessarily a vacation type of trip, but more so of a educational type of trip.
Yeah,
If you want to educate yourself on history and culture, and I think
and
that is a good place to go.
break
And what was
stereo
that?
breaking the stereotypes is good, man. It's a good place for that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely breaking the stereotypes. So what are some of the stereotypes that Afghanistan have that we need to break?
Well, that is just a complete war zone, and it's not. There's normal day-to-day life. People go to work, people go to school, people have to feed their families, just like any other country. And you don't see it on the news. You just see
Hmm.
bombs, and it's not the case
Hmm.
everywhere.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Right. Everywhere. Right. Yeah, definitely. Because that's all we're showing on TV. When it comes to Afghanistan, the only thing, at least Americans, I guess I don't want to speak for all of us, but I guess for myself, I only see, military and war and bombings and all that. That's not one of the places I think like, oh, let's go on a vacation. Well, let's go to Afghanistan. That's not one of those
I mean,
countries
parts
for
of
me.
the
I mean,
country, to be honest, parts of the country are still under war, and what you do see does happen. It's just not the whole country. It's just a very small part, and that doesn't speak for the whole
right,
place.
right.
The country
Yeah.
is,
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree. So it's good to get educated. You know what I mean? It's good to get educated, and people like you, folks like yourself, who have been there and can speak from personal experience and enlighten us, folks like myself, who are uneducated with this particular country. So that's always good. Hope y'all out there getting some good knowledge and whatnot. So, Daniel, is there anything that you disliked about Afghanistan while you was there?
uh, I don't like. I mean, this is cultural, and it's not something that's going to change. I don't think, but the way the women are treated. So I stayed with my host
Mm,
in Kabul was a female, and it this happens
mhm,
in most majority Muslim countries like Saudi Arabia. But I really felt it in Afghanistan because of a situation I was in with my host. Long story short, we were in a taxi together. We were going
mhm,
to a different part of town, and we got stopped by a military. And yeah, so a woman can't be in a car with a random man unless it's a husband, a brother, or a father. And yeah, long story
mm,
short, we were there for an hour. We ended up having to pay a bribe of $50, while she would have been arrested and I would have been maybe deported. So yeah,
mm.
it's quite bad how the women are treated there. But what can I say?
Right. Now, when it comes to, because I remember you mentioned how it's a conservative country, and then women are definitely treated differently. So, what are some of the things you've noticed in terms of the conservative nature of the country, whether it's towards men or women, like far as dress, maybe for an example, for women? What are some of the differences that you've noticed?
uh, I mean, the dress is more cultural than it is when it comes to religion. So the men will all dress the same. They'll wear the shalwar kameez, and most women will wear burqa. So you'll never see a woman's hair. And yeah,
Hmm.
you can't really touch on the dress because there's very limited what they do dress. The women can't really wear what they want. They would have to wear the whole thing, the whole burqa. They don't always
Hmm.
have to cover their face, but a lot of people do. And yeah,
Okay. So out of all, because I know you've been to quite a bit. I think half of the, oh, just about half of the countries. I think it's 195 countries in the world. You've been to about half of them now. So
yeah.
why did you choose Afghanistan? Why was it on your list?
I mean, going to every country, I'm gonna have to eventually go to every country, so it's gonna be on the list. And the main reason I went
Hmm.
because we're in COVID times and there's not many options. Most places are closed and off limits. And Afghanistan is just they were open. They've always been opened, and it was just a place that I was able to go to at the time during these difficult times.
Right.
Yeah,
So the goal is to go to all 195 countries, right?
go to all of them, man.
That's what's up, man. And you had, like I said, halfway there. You 23? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I've just turned 23.
You just turned 23, man. I don't know. 23 and 80 plus countries, bruh. You keep going. Hey, matter of fact, yeah,
Thanks,
keep
bro.
going. Just keep going. Don't stop, man. We rooting you on, brother. We rooting you on. So that's what's up, man. That's real dope. I like that. Now, when it comes to Afghanistan, what do you think is somewhere? it should be like a solo trip or a group trip or go with your friends, or what type of trip do you think Afghanistan is?
I mean, if you've got the experience, I would say just tackle it head on, go by yourself, and just get involved with the country.
Hmm.
Uh,
Hmm.
if you don't have so much experience, I would say go in a group trip. There's a lot of great companies that offer group trips. It's pricey, but it's good. It's good. It's not what I like to do, but for certain people, I'd say go in a group trip. You'd probably enjoy it more.
Hmm. Now, what about, because I don't know if you're aware of this, but there are more solo female travelers than there are men solo travelers. So, would you
Hmm.
recommend Afghanistan as a place or as a country for a solo female traveler?
I mean, it's possible. I know a few that well, I've got a few friends on Instagram that have done it.
Hmm.
It wouldn't be the easiest place, but it's possible. As long as you do your research and your planning, it's definitely possible
Okay,
for
yeah,
sure.
that makes sense. Now, any tips or advice for solo travelers? Like, if you had any tips or anything, any travel hacks, couch surfing is definitely one of them. But are there any other tricks or travel hacks that you would recommend for solo travelers or even just travelers in general?
I mean, couch surfing is not good only because you get free accommodation. I think couch surfing is good because you have a local friend. And that's probably the best thing you can have in a country. It's just having someone that can speak the language, that can help you out, who can show you around. That's probably the best is having a local friend. So couch
Mhm.
surfing is an easy way to get that.
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Definitely. That makes sense. Yeah. Couch surfing, ladies and gentlemen, you definitely want to look into it and see if that's for you. Definitely see if that's for you. Test it out. You can couch surf
Yeah.
here in America, you know. So if you want to just test it out, see what it's like, see the process of it, then yeah, check it out. You can, and right in your city too. If you want to just do right in your city, man, drive to, 15 minutes away, be like, yo, we couch surfing, and just get that vibe, and then explore different states and then different countries, and it's free. That's all I
It's
I mean, it's
start
free. What was that?
for sure. It's definitely a start. Starting in your own country is great.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. So is there anything that you would do differently if you were back in Afghanistan that you didn't do
Uh,
while you
I
was
would
there?
I would stay longer for sure, and I would go to places where online it was said that it was impossible to get to. So I would definitely go off the beaten path and go to some more, I wouldn't say dangerous places, but places where tourists haven't gone to in a long time. But
Mm-hmm.
stay.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, I hear you loud and clear. So, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, we are going to have to start wrapping things up and head back. We have a flight to catch. So, we're going to hit some gift shops and get some souvenirs and whatnot. And as we're doing that, Daniel, anything else in regards to Afghanistan that you can share that we haven't already talked about?
No, I just suggest everyone to try and get out there if they're willing and they're brave enough. Just go break stereotypes and just go see an amazing country that we never
Mhm.
thought we would be able to.
Right,
For
right. Yeah,
sure.
definitely. Now, another question is there, what about the shopping? I don't know if I don't know if you're into the shopping or whatnot, but what's the shopping like out there in Afghanistan?
There's not much when it comes to shopping, as there's no malls, there's no international brands, so everything
Mhm.
you see is local, and it's pretty much like a one giant market, really. They have
Mm,
the few antique
okay.
shops and old souvenirs from the 80s where you can go and buy a rug or an old gun, but I don't think you'll be able to take that back to the States with you. But there are cool
Right.
old shops.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, you probably don't want to go there thinking you're gonna get some Louis Vuitton and Prada and Coach and all that good stuff. So you might want to just tone down your taste a little bit. Now, I'm assuming the same as with the nightlife and no, not really alcohol consumption or much of it. So, what is the nightlife like in Afghanistan, if any?
Yeah, so there's there's no, I mean, I did manage to have some alcohol when I was there. That's a different story, but it's mostly shisha. Shisha's how they spend their time. Shisha and tea, green tea. That's their nightlife, which is good, man. It's
So,
different.
explain Sisha. I don't know what that is. I'm sure some of our
So,
listeners, if not a
sorry,
lot of them, probably
it-
don't know. What is Sisha?
Yeah, sorry. You guys call it hookah, I think it's called. Is it
Mm-hmm,
hookah in the
mm-hmm.
States?
Hookah. Yep, hookah. We call it. Baby, pass me the hookah.
Or call it shisha. Well, I call it shisha
Okay, that's probably the
in the
correct way to
UK.
say it. Yeah, that's probably the correct way. We tend to have we tend to mess things up here in America. But so that's what they're about. A lot shisha, which is aka hookah for us. So hookah and that's kind of like they
Yeah.
nightlife. Is that kind of like what you get in nightlife?
Yeah. You find that in most Muslim majority countries because alcohol is banned. So it's usually hookah and tea.
Okay. You said banned. Now you said you had some alcohol, but it's
Yeah.
banned. How do you get alcohol if it's banned?
So I was in the northern city called Mazar Sharif. I was couch
Mm-hmm.
surfing with a guy, and he was young. He's a university student, and him and his friends smoke and they drink. So it's very close to the Uzbek border. So it's
Mm-hmm.
quite easy to get smuggled bottles of vodka from the border. It's quite expensive. It's about $10 a bottle, which is a lot of money there.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it's easy to get really. So it's smuggled in from Uzbekistan.
Okay, so you gotta do little bit of smuggling, a little bit of sneaking in some alcohol. Man, I don't know, man. If they
Yeah.
catch you on that out, I don't know what they're gonna do to you, bro. I don't know. I just one of those
Luckily,
things. So basically, make a long story short, Afghanistan is probably not the turn up country. Probably not, the nightlife isn't as vibrant as you may want it to be or we're used to. So, hey, it is what it is. But ladies and gentlemen, we do have to catch this flight. So let's go ahead and hop on this flight, head back to our home airports. And as we are heading back, Daniel, we do have one last segment for us, and that is
mhm.
called the lightning round. All right. And in the lightning round, I'm gonna ask you a list of questions, and you are to answer them as quickly as possible. So quick, quick, quick. Speed is our
Uh,
friend.
I'm not good under pressure, but I'm gonna do my best.
Even to apply more pressure, you can only use one word answers. So yeah, pressure's on. But Daniel, I'm ready. You ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Vamonos. So question number one: what is your favorite airline?
TAP.
What is your favorite, this may not apply to you, favorite hotel or hostel or cow surfing, I guess?
Yeah, I'll say couch surfing, so pass.
All right, all right. What is your, if you have you ever been on a cruise?
Not like a big one, not like the ones in the Caribbean. I've been in small ones.
Okay, we'll skip that. What is your favorite state?
Texas.
What is your favorite country?
I'd go for Eritrea.
I know the answer to this. What is your favorite accommodation booking site?
Couch surfing.
Hmm. What is your favorite flight booking site or app?
Skyscanner for sure.
Great one. What is one thing that Daniel must bring on all of his trips?
My phone.
Yep. Where do you want to go next?
Central Africa.
What other country would you live in?
Maybe. Oh, maybe Hong Kong. So China.
Nice. Last question, Daniel. What is your favorite travel podcast?
Oh, it's an easy one. It would have to be the Global Travel Podcast, man.
Great answer. Great answer. Hey, much appreciated, Daniel. Thank you so much for stopping by, man, showing us a lot of great love and travel advice. Much appreciated, sir.
Anytime, bro. Anytime.
Good, good. So, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully y'all got a lot of good value information and travel knowledge and souvenirs to take back with you. So we are approaching our home airports. So y'all know what time of day it is. The plane is now descending. I need you back into your seats, buckle up, trays up, and your seats in the upright position. But before we land, Daniel, if you can do us a huge favor, if you can leave us with one last piece of travel advice, what would that be?
I mean, I'll probably go one over that. I would say if you need any help, I love to help people. Just drop me a message. It can be any advice for any country, anything. I'll always reply quickly. So I'll
Cool.
help anyone you need.
Cool.
Yeah.
And also, I'll put your information in the video, so folks can have access to you. Put your IG, your Facebook, or whatever, so folks can just ask you more questions, follow up, and then you've been to a lot of countries, so they might have questions about other countries too. So I'll drop that in there for y'all. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we are now safely landed. You can unbuckle your seatbelts, grab your belongings, and exit the cabin. Okay. So thank you for flying here with us at the Global Travel Podcast, and we'll see you guys on our next trip. If you would like to be a guest on our show and tell us about your travel experiences, then leave us a comment in the comment section below so we can reach out to you. Also, if you have any countries, states, or cities that you'd like us to review, please let us know so we can plan a trip there. Lastly, if you got some good value today and liked our podcast, please hit the like button and click subscribe so you can travel with us again next time. So subscribe right now because you don't want to miss the next trip. With that being said, over and out.